What is up, guys, gals, and non-binary pals? My name is Naomi. Welcome to House of Miscellania. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're coming back to see me, hey, welcome back. I have a post review for you today. This one is a beauty, and it is from Captured by Radiance. I finished this one recently, as in a couple of days ago, for my Gods and Goddesses event, which has now come to a close, and we're hoping to do it again next year, as long as everybody is up to that, still wants to do it. But let me show you a picture. It is Athena from Captured by Radiance. She is by Stacy Deal. She is an 80 by 80 in round. Now, little note about Captured by Radiance and round diamond paintings. As of the release of this particular diamond painting, it's the last one that they're planning on charting in round diamonds. So if you do want anything in rounds, it's going to have to be from whatever is like restocked or things like that. Some of them will be recharted into squares, from my understanding. So when you're watching this, you may be able to get her in square. I'm not really sure. But let me go over a couple of quick things here. These are my leftovers, and as you can see, I had plenty of everything. All of the diamonds, there was plenty, honestly. Lots of leftovers. I'm not going to say I could have done the painting twice, but there's a lot here. And then for garbage. Now, I would say in comparison to, let's say, like Diamond Art Club, for instance, this might work out to about twice as much trash. That being said, you saw how many extras there were. So really trash when it comes down to it. If you have plenty of diamonds, then what's the big deal, really. That's the way I feel about it anyways. It's like, if I've got enough to be going on with. So before I shake it, because you're going to see a lot of what I ended up with were, your cupped drills. There were a few that would have, now if I shake them, you'll be able to see, some of them had some pretty large pinholes or little itty bitty pinholes in them. Just kind of depended. Sometimes they were really big, really noticeable. And then, like I said, sometimes it's like on the side of one or whatever. But mostly what I dealt with was cupped drills. And with resin, which is what all of their drills are, you're just going to run into that. That's just kind of how it is. So like I said, for trash, it's not more than I expected to see. And it was, because there were plenty of extras, it's like, what's the big deal in the trash anyways? As long as I've got plenty left over to replace them, I don't really mind. And the nice thing about everything with Captured by Radiance is that they offer a 100% satisfaction guarantee. So if there is something you do not like about their canvases, they, will do what they can to fix it for you, whatever the problem is. Let me get her flipped over because she is really beautiful. Ooh, 80 by 80 centimeters. And look at this finish. Now, I was thinking about whether or not I wanted to do a flyover, and really I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to put a picture up of the finish so that you can see the whole thing, because flying over, there aren't little details in this that you necessarily need to see up close that I'm not going to be able to show you here on the table. Also, not going to be moving up to the tabletop because this one is wider than my light is, so I had to roll it while I was working. It was a whole thing, but let me at least get moving it around a little bit so that you can see all of the piece. It's really lovely. There were a couple of little things that I'll get into, because as we know, I always go through my negatives before I go through the positives, because I always like to end on a positive note. But really, there's not much. want to put that right out here. So let me move. Okay, so this one ended up getting a little bit of a nickname because of her brassiere here. We call her Tough Tatas or Areola Borealis because she's got them armored boobs and an armored nipple. So, you know, if you're ever looking for armor nipples. But really, in all honesty, she's a really beautiful piece. Now, the couple of negatives, I guess, that I will bring up. Now, I love the fact that there was plenty of confetti in this piece because I'm not a huge fan of giant amounts of color blocking. There were not those in here. Little blobs of color, sure, like blob of color, blob of color, blob of color, blob of color, but there's a lot of confetti in it. And that can be both a negative and a positive depending on what exactly you're looking for in a piece, because it gives you a lot of greater detail, especially up around in her like headdress here with all of the feathers, the hair, the way her hair is flowing out, things like that. But it can be a lot, so I wouldn't necessarily call this a beginner piece, okay? So the other issue with regard to confetti sometimes, this kit has, oh gosh, it's a lot of specials. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 specials. 2 ABs and 6 of their unicorn poop or dust drill. And the problem with a lot of confetti and a lot of colors, because this has 75 colors, is that a lot of times the specials can get kind of lost in the sauce. Now, there were a couple of areas where the specials were pretty prominent, like the green in her feathers here. That was all, like the green was all specials. So pretty much where you're seeing a bright green, there's a special. Down here in her brassiere, over here in her brassiere. So like those elements here in her like gauntlet on her wrist, those sorts of things ended up very nice. But then things like the very light blue dust drill, it's actually gray, but it's one of my favorites. It's down in here, okay, right there. It's gray, but it has like blue glitter inside of it, and because that one is a kind of muted color, it ends up getting a little bit lost. Like there's some in the owl here, there's some up in the sky here, there's some in the sky over here, but again, because like these blues even are specials, but it kind of gets a little lost. That being said, the yellow that's in here, because there's a yellow and an orange on the back of the owl here in the feathers, it's very pronounced there. It's very pronounced, the orange in the sky here, and there's yellow AB in there. And that was really nice. But again, when you have a lot of high confetti in a piece, it can be positives and negatives, right? You do what you can. Okay, so I don't have a problem with confetti, especially if it makes a piece look beautiful, like this one does. So, you know, kind of a middle point. But again, with the specials, it can get a little lost as far as what to focus on. Now, the other thing that I kind of had as a little bit of a negative, but it really isn't a negative. Some of the coloring that happens in some of these kits, like the really dark maroon here on her neck, or the brown, or like that dark kind of maroon in her armpit, or this blue on her shoulder. That's all in the original. I'll show you the picture again here. That's all in the original. You can see there's blue on her arm. There's like maroon colors in her armpits. And in distance, it all reads out just fine. The blue-gray on top of her arm and the blue on her shoulder, it all looks fine when you're looking in viewing distance. Some of the colors up close can read as a little bit strange. Let me bring you down a little bit and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so focusing in here on that armpit I was talking about where the blue is. When you're looking at the kit up close, some of these colors together, you're looking at them and going like, what in the heck is going on here? Like, why is it those colors? That doesn't make sense for a person's skin tone, like this kind of gray green or this kind of purpley color. Here in her armpit, again, when you're up close to it, it's like, what in the world? But the magic about diamond paintings is that you're not meant to look at it up close. Like when you're working on the piece, you're meant to see it in viewing distance. So like even when you look at her face here, sure, it can look very harsh when you're very close to it. But let me get you back to viewing distance again. And here you're seeing where you're supposed to see in viewing distance, where the colors are not what you think they are. They very much read as what they're supposed to be and blend out so that she's got a very, bright light on her boob or on her arm here, just like in the picture. Because really, when you look at the render, it looks just like it. Get the picture up again. There we go. It looks just like the render. Almost to a T. So, but that again, that's like a middle point. The other thing I did notice, and I talked to Deborah about it, and it's only weird for me because I'm a person who does what's called color spotting. When I look for something on the canvas, I'm looking first at the color and then the symbol. Like if I'm looking through, I'm like, okay, I need a peach or I need a blue or whatever. There were a couple of colors in here that the canvas itself looked, where's an example? Now that it's covered up, it's really going to be hard to tell. But it would be like, okay, the canvas is looking kind of green, and then it really was asking for brown. And when you're, okay, here's a good spot, except there's a hair, a little cat hair, dog hair. It's going to be hard to see underneath, but underneath this very dark brown, do you kind of see here in the light where it's kind of reading a little bit brown green? In person, it's even more pronounced, but it was like brown green, and I was like, what in the heck am I supposed to be putting there? And then I had to look for the symbol. And it's not a big deal. I think that sometimes when it comes to dark colors, printings on canvases can be a little bit strange with the ink, but with the drills on, you don't even notice. The other little itty bitty thing before I get into positives. Okay, so her fingers. Let me show you the picture again. And I want to point something out. And I think it was just the artist kind of missed it. And I'm only pointing it out now because I did do a little bit of changing on the canvas. So if you look in there's like an extra little finger. See, she's got her pinky, her ring finger. That you assume is like her first finger and then the middle finger. But then there's this one finger right there. Right there. I ended up, because it was charted in, I ended up changing that little spot where it looked like a little itty bitty digit. And so I just fixed it. I used colors that were already around it and just blended. Like I made this little swoopy thing here. Sorry, there's a little shine, so it's kind of hard to see, but I made that little swoopy thing go into the hand a little bit more so that this pinky, ring finger, middle finger, and then first finger are the only ones you see. There wasn't like this little weird digit in between. It happens. I do know that Rose or sorry, that Stacy Deal does use some AI art, and it happens. You know what I mean? If you catch it and you fix it, there you go. Now, I do want to get into the positives of this canvas because there were a lot of them. Some of those things that I just mentioned are very nitpicky. I'm a nitpicker, I apologize, but I figure give you everything that I can give you so that if you get the canvas and you experience these things, that you're not like, what the heck? I have to say that, again, even though the colors when you're up close are strange in person and in viewing distance, this canvas is stunning, beautiful. I don't even think it's doing justice on the video because of the shining. Also, the amount of sparkle this thing has that you're not getting because of the background shine from the canvas, because, you know, it's a round. Like, you're not even getting all of the sparkle that this thing is giving off. It's crazy the amount of sparkle. This owl is probably one of my favorite parts of the canvas. I felt like every feather on his back was beautifully represented. The little swirl in the feathers on his chest, his little claw on her shoulder, on Athena's shoulder, beautiful. I love the fact that the rendering was able to pick up all of the detail in her headdress, all of the little, you know, like I don't know what you'd call them, lobes, whatever, in her feathers. Love every one of the feathers. This look on her face, like how she's kind of just staring out into the distance, like Athena is plotting something. She's plotting something. She's thinking about it very, very, very intently. And the hand, even though, like I said, there's a little itty bitty digit, it's a very delicate hand. And it was rendered very well. They did a good job with regard to making sure that the depth is there and all of the fingers. I love that. I also, even though I joke, right? But the bra, the like armor bra, it is really cute. It's really cute. It makes me giggle. There's nothing wrong with having a little bit of a laugh at just anything, because life is funny sometimes. The gauntlets, I love the gauntlets. I really, really, really enjoy this one over here. It's like a cuff, an arm cuff. And this thing on her shoulder, I really enjoyed it. I think my favorite part of the canvas might be this little section over here where it picked up the rainbow in that particular area, because that's in the original as well. This like small rainbow looking part right there. They did a great job of representing that little rainbow here as well. And yeah, I'm in love with it. I'm in love with it, and I'm very proud of this finish. It's an 80 by 80. Again, I enjoyed it very, very much. And thank you once again to Captured by Radiance for sending this over to me. You can go pick this up at Captured by Radiance, and if you'd like to save 20%, you can use my code. There are links in the description, and saving 20% is always good. Always a good thing. So make sure you go on over to Captured by Radiance, do some shopping. I am an affiliate, so if you use my code, I do get a little itty bitty commission on it, but every little bit helps the channel. That all being said, if you have any questions about the canvas or parts of my experience, please put those down in the comments. Let me know in the comments, did you get this when I sneak peeked it last month or month and a half ago? Otherwise, let me know if you're planning on picking it up, if this was the push that you needed. Anyways, I'm going to get out of here. I hope that wherever you are in this great big wide, wonderful world of ours, that you are having a wonderful morning, evening, or afternoon, whatever time it is, or wherever you are. Uh-oh, sirens. They're coming to get me. Bye.